Hi everyone, I am Adrian ng Castrojo, BSed English 3 student of Jose Rizal Memorial State University main campus. For today's video, I am going to discuss the Article 2 of the Philippine Constitution, which is the Declaration of Principles and State Policies. The Article 2 Declaration of Principles and State Policies is divided into 28 sections. Sections 1 to 6 are the Declaration of Principles, and the sections 7 to 28 are the state policies. So, without further ado, let's start with the first section. Section 1. The Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. This section states that our country is a democratic and republican country, where people have the power to decide who will rule the country through the process of voting. So let's have a deeper understanding of the words democratic and republican. When we say democratic, it is from the word democracy, which was generated from the Greek words demos, or the people, and kratos, are rules. Democracy is a government that is run by the people. On the other hand, we have the word republic, which was generated from the Greek word politia, or the rights of the people. If we compare these two, a republic is a form of government, while democracy is mainly an ideology. Section 2. The Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy, adopts the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land, and adheres to the policy of peace, equality, justice, freedom, cooperation, and amity with all nations. So the Philippines renounces war, stating it will only declares it for its own preservation and territorial integrity, not for aggressive war, as it does not align with peace, equality, justice, freedom, cooperation, or amity with all nations. International law is a set of rules governing international relations, with the concept of intercooperation in the Philippines stating that national legislation and international norms must be equivalent, with constitution preceding in conflicts. Section 3. The civilian authority is at all times supreme over the military. The armed forces of the Philippines is the protector of the people and the state. Its goal is to secure the sovereignty of the state and the integrity of the national territory. Since the primary source of power in a constitutional government is the law, the term civilian authority merely refers to the supremacy of the law. The head of the civilian government and the supreme commander of the Philippine Armed Forces are both the President of the Republic of the Philippines. The AFP is always the people's and state's guardian. They cannot be the ones limiting people's freedom. Section 4. The prime duty of the government is to preserve and protect the people. The government may call upon the people to defend the state, and in the fulfillment thereof, all citizens may be required under conditions provided by the law to render personal, military, or civil service. This section states that the role of the government is to preserve and protect the people, because here the people are the masters and the government officials and employees are the servants. However, the government may call upon the people to render personal for military or civil service. That's why we have the Republic Act number 9163, or the National Service Training Program. NSTP includes the Reserve Officers Training Corps, or ROTC, the Literacy Training Service, or LTS, and the Civic Welfare Training Services, or CWTS. There were also conditions for the rendering the military and civil service. First, it must be for the defense of the state. Second, it must be compulsory, meaning that everyone is required to render the service. Third, it must be personal, meaning that one cannot ask another person to perform the service as for him. And lastly, it must be under the conditions provided by the law to avoid abuses from the authorities. Section 5. The maintenance of peace and order, the protection of life, liberty and property, and promotion of the general welfare are essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy. By enacting laws and upholding them, the government has a responsibility to maintain social harmony and to safeguard the citizens' lives, rights, and property. People can only genuinely take use of the benefits of democracy when law and order safety, and a life worthy of human dignity are created and upheld. Section 6. The separation of church and state shall be inviolable. The Constitution mandates a wall of separation between the church and the state. That is inviolable. This means that it must be respected and cannot be removed or ignored. The church cannot interfere with the state, just as the state cannot interfere with the matters of the church. The Constitution also mandates that we not support a religion and cannot punish people for their religious beliefs. This was included in our institution to prevent what happened during the Spanish era in the Philippines where the church manipulated the state. Section 7. The state shall pursue an independent foreign policy. In its relations with other states, the paramount consideration shall be national sovereignty, territorial integrity, national interest, and the right to self-determination. Foreign policy is also called international relations policy, which is a set of goals about how the country will work with other countries economically, politically, socially, and militarily. And independent foreign policy simply means that no other state should be permitted to dictate how the Philippines should behave in relation to other states. No country should be able to pass us around when it comes to how we deal with other countries. The President of the Philippines acts as the chief foreign policy implementer, and the Department of Foreign Affairs is the prime agency responsible for the pursuit of the state's foreign policy. Section 8. The Philippines, consistent with the national interest, adopts and pursues a policy of freedom from nuclear weapons in its territory. This section aims to forbid the production, storage, picking, and protection of nuclear weapons, devices, or their components in our cherished nation. It does not, however, forbid using nuclear power for industrial, agricultural, or other uses. Additionally, it could be allowed to store nuclear weapons if doing so serves the national interest. What do we mean by it then? Let's define what is of national interest in order to comprehend this section. A country's wants and goals are publicly stated when they are based on an evaluation of the existing circumstances. In other words, the Philippine government may be allowed to keep nuclear weapons if it believes that doing so will benefit the nation. Section 9. The state shall promote a just and dynamic social order that will ensure the prosperity and independence of the nation and free the people from poverty through policies that provide adequate social services, promote full employment, a rising standard of living, and an improved quality of life for all. The objective of this section can only be achieved by the following policies. First, promote full employment. Second, raise rising standard of life. Third, improve the quality of life for all. And fourth, provide sufficient services in the fields of health, education, housing, and a lot more. Section 10. The state shall promote social justice in all phases of national development. Social justice is equal access to wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. The state is mandated to give preferential attention to the welfare of the less fortunate members of the community, especially the following people. First, the poor. Second, the unprivileged. Third, the uneducated. And fourth, the disabled. Section 11. The state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. According to the Constitution, torture against people is illegal. The Constitution also establishes a Commission on Human Rights that will look into cases of human rights violations and adopt or take the necessary steps to safeguard each individual's rights. Section 12. The state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic autonomous social institution. It shall equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception. The natural and primary right and duty of parents in the rearing of the youth for civic efficient and the development of moral character shall receive the support of the government. The government cannot interfere in matters involving the family or pass laws that may weaken it as a social unit. This is also the reason why abortion is illegal in our country. If you legalize abortion, this would violate this clause. However, if the life of the mother is endangered, the life of the unborn may be sacrificed, and this cannot be considered an abortion. Section 13. The state recognizes the vital role of the youth in nation building and shall promote and protect their physical, moral, spiritual, intellectual, and social well-being. It shall inculcate in the youth patriotism and nationalism and encourage their involvement in public and civic affairs. Section 14. The state recognizes the role of women in nation building and shall ensure the fundamental equality before the law of women and men. Sections 13 and 14. The role of youth and women. The Constitution recognizes the vital role of youth and women in nation building and ensures gender equality. Sections 15 to 16. The right to health and right to live in a healthy and balanced ecology. Section 15. The state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. Section 16. The state shall protect and advance the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. Section 17. The state shall give priority to education, science and technology, arts, culture, and sports to foster patriotism and nationalism, accelerate social progress, and promote total human liberation and development. To accomplish the following, this must be done. First, promote nationalism and patriotism. Second, hasten social progress. And third, advance complete liberation and development. The writers of this Constitution firmly believe that in order for a person to be freed from ignorance, selfish wants, colonial mindset, bad habits, and other unfavorable attitudes, they must also be liberated from illiteracy. Section 18. The state affirms labor as a primary social economic force. It shall protect the rights of workers and promote their welfare. This section acknowledges labor as the main social and economic force and focuses on defending the rights and welfare of Filipino workers. Additionally, the state must ensure that all labor rules are faithfully applied. Section 19. The state shall develop a self-reliant and independent national economy effectively controlled by Filipinos. An independent national economy is one that is free from dependence on other countries. In order to build an independent national economy, it is essential to adhere to the principle of a self-reliant economy or the state of not requiring any aid, support, interaction, or trade with the outside world. A self-sufficient economy does not trade with other countries because it can produce its own goods and services using its own natural resources and sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and efforts of its own people. Section 20. The state recognizes the indispensable role of the private sector, encourages private enterprise, and provides incentives to needed investments. The state has been ordered to encourage free enterprise and give incentives to those who want to invest in the country. Section 21. The state shall promote comprehensive rural development and agrarian reform. Because agricultural reform and comprehensive rural development are crucial to the health of our nation's economy, the Constitution requires the state to support them. The agriculture industry employs more than half the workforce. Reforms are crucial because they safeguard farmers' rights. Section 22. The state recognizes and promotes the rights of indigenous cultural communities within the framework of national unity and development. Indigenous cultural communities are those minority groups with distinctive religious, linguistic, or ethnic practices from the general population. Due to the presence of numerous cultural groups, the government must pass legislation that will encourage growth and harmony across the country. Section 23. The state shall encourage non-governmental, community-based, or sectoral organizations that promote the welfare of the nation. The Philippines has a large and dynamic network of NGO and PO networks, with NGOs providing services and POs promoting community interests. These organizations contribute to the country's political, social, and economic growth, and are encouraged by the state due to their role in promoting welfare and advocating public policies. Section 24. The state recognizes the vital role of communication and information in nation building. Effective communication and information are now recognized as crucial for nation building, regardless of war or peace, as a balanced flow is vital for national progress. Section 25. The state shall ensure the autonomy of local governments. This section emphasizes the significance of local government and its role in establishing local autonomy. Local autonomy derived from the Greek words auto, meaning south, and nomos, meaning law, refers to the ability of local governments to establish their own rules and impact their citizens' well-being independently. Section 26. The state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities for public service and prohibit political dynasties as may be defined by law. Political dynasties involving rulers from the same family or life are prohibited by the Constitution due to potential corruption and graft. Equal opportunities for appointments to public offices must be based on merit. Section 27. The state shall maintain honesty and integrity in the public service and take positive and effective measures against graft and corruption. Government offices as public trust have a negative image necessitating the state to implement effective measures against graft and corruption. And we're already here to Section 28, the last section for Article 2. Section 28, subject to reasonable conditions prescribed by law, the state adopts and implements a policy of full public disclosure of all its transactions involving public interest. The policy guarantees the public's right to know government transactions, including the use of public funds and properties, in order for them to understand how taxes are allocated, but it excludes any private information that can endanger the state. I'm going to wrap up my discussion right now, and I hope that everything I covered in this video was helpful to you. Ciao!